Hello and welcome back to Python tips, tricks, and techniques. Today we're starting a new section on speeding up your code with high performance container data types. In this section we're going to focus on built-in data types or data structures either within the Python standard library or within the collections module within Python standard library. So we're looking at 5 different categories of built-in data types. So we're going to talk about counter, which allows us to count occurrences of items very quickly instead of, let's say, saving them in a dictionary. We talk about deq objects, so you can call it DQ or D, but if you read the Python official documentation, it's pronounced deq, and that allows you to create stacks and queues that support removing and adding items on both ends of the queue very efficiently. The third thing we're going to look at are using tuples to store related values and to do packing and unpacking. The main reason why you would use tuples is because it allows you to store a sequence of values that aren't the same data type. So for example, if you have a list, you can't have a list of ints and then suddenly have a string inside. The fourth thing we're going to look at is sets and frozen sets. So sets and frozen sets are very close to each other. They all enable you to find unique sets of items from lists and dictionaries, and also allow you to do typical mathematical operations on sets like intersection, join, and union. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to look at how we can power up our dictionaries with ordered dictionaries. So in this video, we're going to talk about counting occurrences of items quickly with the counter class. And that's a sub-module of the collections module within Python, which is a very useful thing to know. And I encourage you to go take a look at the documentation. But let's take a look at how we can count things. One of the core use cases of counting objects may be when you have a list of words and you want to count how many times each word has appeared. One of the ways you can do this is we can use default dictionaries. So we do from collections import default dictionary, and then we say count equals default dic int, and then we want to say for word in word list counts word. So this is very simple already. So because we're leveraging default dict's behavior and we're creating a new integer whenever a key hasn't existed before. So now what we're doing is simply every time we see a word in a word list, we try to get its value, and so because of the behavior of default dic, it will revert to 0 if we haven't seen this word before. Otherwise, it will retrieve the current count and then increment it by 1, and then we can get the counts. But there's actually an even simpler way to do this. So we do from collections import counter, and all we actually need to do is counter word list, and then you have the thing that's counted. So this is much cleaner and allows us to use a purpose-built data type to count the words within our word list, or also count anything else that you might be interested in. So there are multiple things we can do with the counter. We can convert it into a list, which means that we extract the unique items in our word list when converted to a dictionary, which basically is like the default dictionary, but then we do not retain the default dictionary properties of this data type. We can also use one of its built-in functions, most common, and that allows us to extract any number of most common words within the word list. So here, for example, it says apple is the most common word. It has occurred twice. And that's all there is to it. So this gives you a taste of what is available within the collections module, and I do encourage you to go take a look at the documentation from Python itself. Very useful to know about various functions within collections.